How can you go on a business trip abroad as a jobless person? Aren't you ashamed of yourself coming out with a bare-faced lie like that? It's not a lie. I really am going overseas for work. Right then, we're divorcing a liar. With that, he left the room. To him, it seems I, who work from home, might as well be unemployed and lazy. I have a steady income and even contribute to the living expenses, yet he won't acknowledge that. A few days after I returned from my business trip, I found divorce papers on my desk, already signed. I see, if he can't understand this far, there's no point in being a couple, is there? I signed the divorce papers and headed to the state court. My name is Hannah Robinson, 29 years old. My husband's name is Jake, 30 years old. We started dating in college and got married when I was 25. We were more like best friends than lovers, and we always spoke our minds. It might seem like a good thing, but sometimes things take an unexpected turn. For me, it happened when I discussed my dream with him. My dream is to run an online imported goods store. The opportunity came during my part-time job at a boutique when I was a student. Having always liked foreign designs, I was attracted to the charm beyond my part-time job. After graduating from college, I aimed to open my own store and became a full-time employee at my part-time job. Even as a full-time employee, I could not give up my dream. I really want to have my own shop surrounded by my favorite foreign goods. I want to deliver them to my customers. My parents and friends gave me warm words like, "Good luck, and you will surely succeed." Confident that Jake would understand my dream and support me, I tried to bring up the topic subtly when he returned from work. "Hey Jake, you know I've been talking about opening my own shop for a while, right? About that." "Oh, not this again. It's not going to work if you do it on a whim. You should quit." "Why would you say that? It's not a whim. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. Impossible is impossible. Life isn't as sweet as you think it is. There's no need to be so harsh. Why do you always negate everything from the get-go?" I raised my voice without thinking, my thoughts cavalierly dismissed. Jake gave me a scornful glance, his voice and eyes cold. "Then tell me, what's your plan if this venture of yours doesn't take off?" "Well, I don't expect it to be successful right off the bat. And what about your income until then? The rent and living expenses we're splitting now. You're telling me I have to cover it all, right?" "No, that's not what I'm thinking at all. I have some savings for the initial investment and I'll make sure to pay the rent." "Oh really? Then do as you please, but if it doesn't work out and you regret it, it's not my problem." Every time I brought up going independent, Jake always became irritable. The reason is simple, because my income would become unstable. The import shop I work at is well situated, and we have a wide customer base, so we get many customers. Thanks to that, my income is fairly high, nearly the same as Jake's, who works as an office worker. In fact, it might be a bit higher. That's why I've been covering meals when we go out and paying a little more for the rent. My decrease in income is something Jake simply cannot tolerate. At first, he said things like, "Why rush things? And you should take your time and prepare," in a kind tone. Now, however, he has no qualms about breaking my spirit. Even so, I did not give up on owning my own shop. No matter how much Jake opposed, I prioritized fulfilling my dream. As a result, I overcame his opposition, and at the age of 26, I started an online boutique. In the beginning, as Jake had predicted, it was difficult to get things running smoothly. But over the years, I implemented all sorts of strategies. I utilized the nature of the online shop, outsourcing to well-known e-commerce companies, promoting on social media, and doing all I could. Thanks to these efforts, a year after going independent, I was able to secure a steady income. From there, I expanded the customer base and product range, and now the annual sales have reached $300,000. Because Jake was so against it, I never spoke about the sales. I assumed he wouldn't be interested anyway. Of course, he never asked. Still, he never failed to remind me about the rent and living expenses. I had always just given him the money he demanded without any fuss and kept any work-related conversation as non-controversial as possible. But then one day, something happened. I received this message in the DMs of my online shop. "I'm a regular customer of your shop. I was wondering, in addition to the international knickknacks, could you also sell furniture?" Actually, there had been numerous requests for me to add furniture to my offerings. However, unlike selling knickknacks, selling furniture online can be quite difficult. Furniture tends to be more expensive, and factors such as the material are also important. Even though I had worked in an import shop before, there are risks involved in sourcing furniture sight unseen and selling it. So, I decided to call my old boss at the import shop to discuss the matter. "Hello, is this the manager? I have something I want to discuss with you." As soon as Maggie, the manager, recognized it was me, she sounded genuinely excited. Hannah, it's been a while. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Well, I've had some requests to sell furniture in my online shop. Furniture? That sounds like a challenge. So, I was thinking of checking out the actual items before selling them. How did you source your items, Maggie? I see what you're saying. I can definitely help with that. Maggie, who had connections with overseas suppliers from before, offered to contact one of them and arrange for them to provide furniture to my online shop. Thanks to my long-standing relationship with Maggie, the overseas supplier was happy to comply with her suggestion. I decided I would travel abroad to source the furniture. However, I couldn't just go abroad without telling my husband. So that night, I broached the subject with him. Jake, about the week after next, would it be okay if I was away for about a week? A week? Why so long? Well, you see, I might have to go abroad for work with Maggie from the shop I used to work at. Ha, abroad? If you're going to lie, at least make it believable. What? Jake pointed at me, his expression one of mockery. You're going overseas for work. You're practically unemployed. What are you even talking about? Wait a minute, you know I run an online shop, right? This trip abroad is for sourcing items for the shop. So, you think I'll just believe you if you tell a work-related lie? Are you stupid? Your little amateur shop can only go so far. Think what you want, but right now, our sales are decent, and our customers are increasing steadily. This time, it was because of a customer's request. If you're too persistent anyway, I won't allow you, practically a shut-in, to leave home for a whole week. With a beer in hand, Jake stumped off to the bathroom. A deep sigh unconsciously escaped from my lips. Why can't he try to understand? His reaction is too harsh just because he doesn't approve of my work. But I can't just go abroad without his permission. I must persuade him at any cost. Although I was hesitant to continue the discussion, I couldn't ignore the issue. The next day, when Jake came back from work, I spoke to him again. Jake, about yesterday's discussion. Look, I'm tired. I don't have time to indulge in your lies. I'm only speaking the truth. An unemployed person going on a business trip abroad? You're quite good at lying. I'm not lying. I really have to go abroad for work. At that moment, as I grabbed his arm to plead with him, he looked down at me as if to mock me. Oh really? Then liars get divorced too. Divorced? What are you saying? You know I really can't stand liars, especially pointless people like you who are always trying to show off your success. I didn't mean. Shut up. You just want to use a lame excuse to go on a vacation abroad. I bet your boss is a man too, right? Divorce? Divorce? I'll make sure to demand property division. Saying this, he stormed out of the room. At that moment, a furious rage swelled up within me, making my veins pop. Who does he think he is? He looks down on me just because I work from home. He only wants to feel superior. Enough is enough. If he wants it that way, then I'll do as I please. From then on, I stopped seeking his permission for my actions and decided to go on my business trip abroad. 2 weeks later, as scheduled, I headed overseas with Maggie. We visited our UK suppliers directly to inspect the furniture and accessories for my boutique. Taking advantage of being abroad, I spent the last day sightseeing with Maggie and enjoyed some fulfilling days. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. My phone buzzed incessantly with messages from Jake. Jake, you didn't really go overseas, did you? Get back here right now. I'll forgive you if you return today. Time's up. We're getting divorced, you worthless woman. Each message irritated me, but I refrained from responding. I knew any reply would only escalate things. When I returned, if he was open to it, we could talk again. With that decision in mind, I spent a carefree week abroad. The business trip concluded, and I bid farewell to Maggie at the airport, beginning my journey back. Facing Jake was awkward, but I steeled myself and opened the front door. I'm home. The house was dimly lit, and there was no welcome back. As I stepped into the living room, laundry lay scattered on the floor, making it difficult to move. Used dishes and instant noodle containers cluttered the sink. Amidst the disarray, I noticed a piece of paper on the desk. What's this? It was a completed divorce paper. Beside it, a harshly written note read. To the cheating, divorced woman who never listens, I'm ending things with you. Fill out the divorce papers immediately. If you want forgiveness, come to my parents' house. Then maybe I'll reconsider. Reading his words, I could almost see Jake's smug expression. He likely thought this note would prompt me to apologize and beg forgiveness. But I had no such intentions. I signed the divorce papers he'd left and headed straight to the state court. The divorce proceedings went smoothly without any issues. Next, I visited the real estate agent to terminate the lease on our current apartment. This apartment had been mine since before we were together. Jake moved in later, and although we had discussed moving to a larger place once we had children, those plans were now irrelevant. After finalizing the lease cancellation, I immediately began packing up. The following day, I arranged for my belongings to be sent back to my parents' house and scheduled for Jake's things to be delivered to his parents. Throughout this process, he continued bombarding me with absurd demands via messages. Stop being stubborn and come apologize now. You have until the end of the week, you hear? And so on. Naturally, I ignored all of them. Once the apartment was emptied, I headed back to my parents' home. A week later, my phone rang incessantly since morning. Despite my attempts to ignore it, it persisted, forcing me to reluctantly answer, intending for this call to be the final one. I pressed the answer button. Hello. He launched into shouting immediately. What the hell do you think you're doing? His loud voice startled me, and I instinctively moved the phone away from my ear. Deciding to record the conversation just in case, I responded calmly. What's the issue? There's nothing left to discuss. Don't mess with me. Why were all my things sent to my parents' house? I just got to the apartment, and it's completely empty. Oh, that? I canceled the lease, so I had to clear everything out. What? Canceled? How dare you make that decision without me? The apartment was in my name. I have the right to do what I want with it, don't I? By this point, I had nothing left to lose. His words held no sway over me anymore. As I replied in a provocative tone, Jake's irritation became evident. Don't mess around. I don't give a damn about the lease. We were married, remember? I lived in that apartment too. You just went and canceled it on your own. Married? Yes, damn it. Whether you cheated or not, we're still married. Canceling the lease on our apartment without discussing it with your husband? What the hell are you thinking? You think you can just do whatever you want, even though you're unemployed? I'll never forgive you for this. He raged on, showing no consideration for my feelings whatsoever. His rant didn't care about me anymore. Fed up, I decided to set the record straight. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you're getting all fired up about not forgiving me, but we're not married anymore. Okay. What? What are you talking about? I submitted the divorce papers you left behind, so we're strangers now. Why should I continue renting a place for a stranger? Hold on, you're joking, right? You're basically unemployed. You'd be in trouble without me. What? Don't make me laugh. When did I ever say that? Caught off guard, Jake was speechless on the phone. Seizing the chance to vent my pent-up frustration, I continued. You've looked down on me all this time. I'm not the unemployed or jobless person you think I am. I didn't cheat on you. I traveled abroad for work to cater to my clients. If you can't believe that, fine. But just know, I'll never forgive you. Well, wait a minute, but your online store, it's not like the sales can just increase. I've been busting my butt for the past 3 years. You don't know anything and never tried to understand. You just made assumptions. 3 years? Just so you know, I've been earning many times more than you. You've looked down on me and belittled me. I don't want a marriage like this. You can live a miserable life on your own for all I care. With that, I hung up the phone, deleted his contact, and cut off all means of communication. It seems he finally came to his senses, realizing many people use my online store. He even heard about my success through mutual friends and once came to my parents' house. But I have no intention of meeting or talking to him anymore. Jake attempted to visit, only to be turned away by my dad at the door. Apparently, his own parents found out about his behavior towards me and kicked him out. Now, I hear he's renting an apartment near his workplace and just shuffling between home and work alone. As for me, I've decided to live with my parents for a while. Thanks to my job, which allows me to work from anywhere, I can stay with them, which is a blessing. Their house is quite old, so I'm considering starting renovations soon. I'm confident my online store will continue to grow. Without anyone holding me back, I'm free to travel abroad whenever necessary. Despite having a divorce on my record, I have no regrets about prioritizing my dreams. I plan to keep working hard and repay those who have supported me.